Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here and welcome to Final Fantasy Bestiary. This series is dedicated towards discovering the history and lore behind Final Fantasy's most iconic creatures and characters. In this episode, we'll take a look at the alchemic monstrosities known as chimeras. Chimeras are beasts that are often represented as the genetic combination of several different species molded into one creature. While a chimera can be any combination of species, it's most often represented as having a lion's head, a goat's body, and a serpent's tail, while also being capable of breathing fire. Its origins come from Greek mythology, claiming the creature is an offspring of Typhon and Echidna, as well as a sibling of creatures such as Cerberus. In recent years, the chimera has since been used in RPGs to create terrifying enemies that represent an immense amount of power. Final Fantasy especially takes its chimeras very seriously. While they almost always use the lion, goat, and snake aspects we mentioned above, it has become quite common to make the creature multi-headed while giving each head its own deadly attacks. They also often combine other types of creatures on top of the aforementioned three, including dragons, hawks, hogs, minotaurs, and even in one instance, insects. While the appearance of these beasts isn't always explained, it is often implied that their appearance is not a natural occurrence. They are manufactured to be weapons to use as a defense, in offense in wars, or even just for the sake of progressing science. It's pretty messed up. Chimeras are also one of the privileged few who can say they've been a part of the original Final Fantasy. They appear initially in the Mirage Tower, sporting the powerful fire-based attack, Blaze. If you encounter more than one, it's common for these dangerous foes to wipe the party out pretty quick. The Blaze attack would be something that many of the early iterations of the Chimera specialized in. Eventually, though, developers would make use of the other heads to signify different elements the creature had access to. While Final Fantasies 2, 3, and 4 didn't do much to change up the Chimera, Final Fantasy V went in the opposite direction and gave them the Aqua Breath attack, one of the most threatening early game blue magic spells. In Final Fantasy VI, they would go full throttle with making chimeras a multi-threat by giving them all kinds of different elemental attacks, including Snowstorm, Fireball, Cyclonic, and Aqua Breath. This, on top of strong physical attacks, brought in a new era for the chimera as a threat in the Final Fantasy series. Final Fantasy 7 and 8 followed suit, though Final Fantasy 7 actually had a variation known as the Chimera Bug, which was a chimera-type enemy with all different kinds of insect heads. Moving on to Final Fantasy IX, the Chimera's main body is not even a lion, or its main head I should say, is not even a lion, but it possesses instead a giant mouth with which it uses one of the game's most annoying attacks, Virus Crunch. It is one of the game's most dangerous normal enemies, and considering how bothersome the virus debuff can be, should be handled with a bit of care. Final Fantasy X took a different path with the Chimera, still giving it its four heads, but making the primary head what appears to be a minotaur. With the way Final Fantasy X sphere grid allows the player to power up, the chimeras in the game are only a threat when you're playing through not overleveled. Otherwise, they pose very little threat. Even the Monster Arena Superboss version, the Chimera Geist, is not very strong in comparison to a lot of others. Now we move into the MMOs. Chimeras were introduced several years into Final Fantasy XI in the Treasures of Ot Urgan expansion, though their appearance here is definitely different from most of the previous games. Unlike pretty much every game beforehand, chimeras in Final Fantasy XI only have one head, but they possess elements of other types of creatures, such as claws, wings, and a snake-like tail. Despite only having the one head, it does still share the same type of attack themes for its other body parts. For example, the claws can inflict the plague status, its breath can inflict petrification, its wings can knock everyone back and stun them, and its entire body is capable of generating powerful electric attacks, especially the Fulmination ultimate attack. It may be quite different, but it was still quite threatening. Final Fantasies 12 and 13 didn't do much to advance the chimeras of the series. Feels like a recurring theme in Bestiary, as a matter of fact. In Final Fantasy XII, the Chimera was actually just a cockatrice-type mob, and it didn't even appear in Final Fantasy XIII until Lightning Returns, and they only utilized chimeras in the final dungeon. Even then, it's really just a redesign of Final Fantasy XIV's Chimera, which we'll talk about in a second. In Final Fantasy XIV, they used chimeras pretty frequently, a great deal more than the previous Final Fantasy MMO did. Originally, the Chimera, just one, was a creature that made the Cutter's Cry its home, killing off merchants or adventurers who wandered into its feeding grounds. Eventually, it was revealed that the Chimeras were born as a result of alchemic experiments done by the ancient Allag race, an empire that ruled a great portion of Hydaelyn several thousand years prior. As such, whenever wandering through the halls of any Allagan constructs, Chimeras are fought quite frequently. Ones that escaped capture have since wandered into areas such as the Cutter's Cry, Northern Thanalan, and Halatali. Each head of the Chimera in Final Fantasy XIV has different elemental attacks, with the Lion's head having a forward conal fire breath, the Dragon's head having a left conal lightning breath, and the Ram's head having a right conal ice breath. The Dragon and Ram's heads are also capable of channeling more of the Chimera's power into themselves and performing large AoE breath attacks, summoning thunder orbs, or shooting icy patches on the ground at players. Even the tail, that of a serpent, is capable of inflicting poison when it's slammed against the ground. Now obviously the Chimera has appeared in many other Final Fantasies. It's also one of the few enemy types to have been in every single main Final Fantasy game, though I'm kind of cheating on that one since it didn't appear in Final Fantasy XIII until Lightning Returns. It would be a shock to not have one of these enemies appear in Final Fantasy XV, and I'm looking forward to them being as nightmare-inducing as always. Probably more so, seeing how Final Fantasy XV is looking to have tons of large, nasty beasties. And on that note, that's going to be a wrap for this episode of Final Fantasy Bestiary. Thank you again to our Patreon supporters for helping bring the series back to YouTube. If you want to support over on Patreon, be sure to check out the description of the video. It is greatly appreciated and also comes with a few of its own little perks. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for the next episode of Final Fantasy Bestiary. Until then, everyone, take care.